So, guys, welcome back to Dr. Batisi Show, which is episode 35. Today, we have with us first equine dental technician in India. She is a BDS from Mumbai. Currently, also, she is residing in Mumbai. And she went to New Zealand to work and learn equine dentistry from one of the finest dentists, Warwick Burns, and his team, and who has 35 years of finest experiences across the globe on the horses. The experience gave Dr. Akriti a chance to work on various different breeds of horses, and she's also a telepathic animal communicator. So, a very warm welcome, ma'am, again.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, let's start with what exactly is equine. It's purely horse dentistry, right?
Yes. So equine dentistry is purely horse dentistry, as the name suggests, as horses have very different teeth than humans or other mammals. They have teeth that continuously erupt.
Right. Ma'am, equine word, exactly what does this mean?
It means, cows are bovine, dogs are canine,
Okay.
cats are feline, so horses are equine.
Equine. Oh wow. Okay, right. So, ma'am, what treatments is that we actually do? Is it the same like we do in the humans?
No. So the treatments no, I don't do it. I mean, I only do it for friends and family. There was one question that we missed. So,
Yeah,
anyways,
that
so
right.
yeah, so the treatments are different for horses. Obviously, they have continuously erupting teeth. That was your question, right? Sorry, I
Yeah.
was a little
No, no, ma'am. That was
confused. Yeah.
exactly the
So
question.
yeah, so small animal dentistry is different because they have very similar teeth to us where they just erupt and we can do root canals or extractions or fillings or whatever. But horses' teeth keep growing and erupting their whole life. So we need to kind of rasp them, balance them, and, like shape them so they can
Right.
kind of perform better.
And ma'am, the lifespan here we are talking is approx less than the humans. Like you shared that you treated the horse, the eldest, who was the 35, and sir,
Yeah, 45.
yeah, who treated was 45. So basically, it's less than the human's life.
Yes, they are less than human life, and also they have in the wild. They don't live that long.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, when they are domesticated and they have the best veterinary care, hoof care, dental care, all the other things that they can do. Obviously, it's much. They stay younger for longer. Yeah.
Right. And ma'am, I shared this also. Like, I read in your articles or the interview that you have practiced for 2 years after BDS. I guess all the general dentistry have worked in the best and the worst kind of dental clinics that you could at that point of time. And after that,
Correct.
there was a calling for you. Like, okay, now you have been onto a horse when you were a year old. You had been put on it by your father, I guess. So you had
Yeah.
it that kind of experience, and then you went into it thoroughly. So how, and you also did the complete research, and then you moved to New Zealand for the course you want to pursue ahead, on which you tried on different breeds. So what were the challenges there or in India? And secondly, what was your experience?
So I'm sorry, I didn't get your question. You were talking about how did I start?
Yeah, ma'am, the challenges you face because being the first and being also a woman, so and being dentistry, equine dentistry, not so aware at that point of time when you were the first one here. So, any challenges while you pursued the course there, and what were your amazing experiences?
So, yeah, like you rightly shared that my dad did put me on a horse when I was a year old. And from then on, I took riding lessons and all of that at different places. And, it was obviously nothing prepared me for what awaited in New Zealand because that's a completely different way of a lifestyle. And, people, I mean, everyone in New Zealand has this lifestyle of, having cattle and sheep and horses in their own, like every middle class person has, farm animals and they
Wow.
have a big property where they live. So it's very agriculture and like animal husbandry based sort of a lifestyle, which is really amazing. Um, and then I think that's what I learned from there, like to just understand horses in general in terms of their behavior and stuff. And I'm sorry, I forgot the rest of your question.
Ma'am, the amazing experiences, any you would
Yeah, so
share?
the amazing experiences have been many. They've been, from an old horse literally falling on me. So it was 500 kgs between me and a door. Like I was stuck between a door of the barn and that horse, and literally my teacher had to like save me. Like he grabbed me and just pulled me out, otherwise I would have broken my spine. There have been stories where like I've been almost kicked. I have been almost stuck in a feeding frenzy of horses, which is not, you do not, it's like sharks. If you're stuck in a feeding frenzy of sharks, you're going to be
Yeah.
in trouble. So when the horses are, trying to figure out their hierarchy and they're all together, they're
Okay.
kicking and bucking, and I got stuck between that once. And obviously, my first horse was a really, really large gray horse that, um, like, I had to go and palpate the joints and check his teeth and stuff. No,
Do
I
you
did
take
not take dental
impressions?
impressions.
Okay.
No, no, no. Not so far. I think when we start doing implants for horses, we will need to.
Right.
Yeah, so it was a large gray horse, which I had to just kind of, go and palpate the joints and check the teeth and stuff. And I was literally in tears. I was like, I can't do this. I really cannot do this. This is humongous. And I was so scared of the horse because obviously there was no one holding the horse for me and stuff. Or then you have times where people just say that, okay, my horse is there in that paddock, which is 1 kilometer away. Go in the cold, in the rain, and the muck. You have to go get the horses to the place, do the dentistry, and then drop them back in the cold, in the rain, in the muck. And it was not fun. I'm very
Okay.
spoiled in India.
Okay. So, ma'am, how about the like the oral hygiene instructions? Like, of course, I have seen many movies and I've been into like the countryside. I've seen a lot of countryside, how the horses are grown up, but never we tend to see their dental side, of course. So, what exactly are the oral hygiene instructions given to the horse? Are there any? Do they brush?
No, they don't brush their teeth. They don't need to. They eat grass all day, especially in countries like New Zealand and the US. They're out grazing every day. So, grass has silica particles in it as well. And, that basically grinds their teeth correctly and stuff. And it's a lot of abrasion.
Right.
Like they have very foods. So keeps their teeth clean, it keeps them leveled and stuff. So that's, absolutely. I think I would tell all my clients that the horse, the closer it is to its natural way of living, the better it is for the horse.
Right.
So
And
the
ma'am,
only advice I
yeah.
would give for teeth is to please let them graze, let them socialize, let them eat what they eat in the wild, and they should be fine.
And ma'am, they're herbivores, right?
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes,
ma'am,
they
your
are
suggest
herbivores.
yeah. Your suggestions on mistakes to avoid by the aspiring dentist when they are have no clue on firstly they have no idea on what dentistry is. They are confused to get into it and even after they graduate they're super confused. So what would be your say to them?
So I think dentistry is a great field. I think it's a beautiful field where, you get to do stuff and, I love it. I love dentistry because it's art and science, right? It's
Yeah.
art because, it's really, I love working with my hands. So I absolutely loved that practical aspect of dentistry, which is, it's a great, fulfillment when you see that perfect root canal, when you see that perfect tooth filling that you have done. So it's a great, great feeling. And obviously, I mean, I've seen people cry after they've got their dental work done, and then they suddenly
Yeah.
have teeth and they look younger and more and beautiful and handsome. So that's amazing. So yes, I would definitely tell people that yes, you should follow your heart and do what you want to do. Don't let society or people tell you what to do. Like I had a very strong spiritual backing in form of Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism. So I feel that kept me going, and it didn't matter. Other people's negativity didn't matter because at the end of the day, I had a very strong, understanding of where I want to go and what I want to do. So yeah.
Right. And ma'am, the skills that must we have, whoever is in touch with equine dentistry or dentistry per se. So, according to you, what skills or the persona he must develop, or he or she must develop?
In terms of any dental work
Yeah,
or
and if
equine dental.
or
Okay. So
both, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's the same thing. At the end of the day, you don't need any superpowers. You just need to be, uh, you just need to kind of, have the courage and conviction to do what you want to do, and again, have some sort of positive thinking that will help you to kind of, create a good experience for that patient or that client. And it's very, very important for people to be sincere and honest to in what they're doing and be hardworking. I mean, it's all the stuff that they don't teach you in school. The degrees
Yeah,
and stuff can get you
exactly.
in certain places, but at the end of the day, it is your conduct and behavior that gets you to the best places.
Right. And ma'am, like why didn't like most people have a question like they want to go and study abroad in whatever they are pursuing after dentistry and they stay abroad. They do not come back. So what was the thing of coming back to India and not staying
I
abroad?
was Yeah, I was very clear. I've lived abroad. I've lived in the US for a bit. I've gone to school there and stuff. But I was very clear I wanted to live in India. And, because I wanted to live in India, my parents put me in dental school here. And I
Right.
said, kuch bhi karwa lo, India mein hi rahungi. So, I mean, they're great countries to look and travel to and have a vacation at. But I think I genuinely wanted to be a part of the Indian story. And, I absolutely love it here. And once you live abroad, what all you miss here. So it's definitely
Exactly.
a no-brainer. And why not? Why should we be like a brain drain for the country? Why not do our best here? So I mean, people
Right.
told me that, oh, go back. It's never going to be possible for you to practice something like this over here or whatever. But today I'm making a very decent living for myself and I'm doing what I
Exactly.
love to do. And India is
Exactly.
beautiful. Like we've not even seen this country. Half of it we've not even seen, which is amazing.
Right. Ma'am, we don't know even the hidden places, and I'm damn sure most of us haven't traveled to every state, the 29 states. We haven't
Correct.
even been there.
Correct.
And ma'am, like the horses, whatever material you use are the same that we use for the humans as well, like the GIC, or if the impression is taken, we take it by
Yeah.
putty.
Yeah. So impressions so far, so I have not taken, but
Yeah.
putty is used for their hoof work at times. So I keep having
Okay.
trainers call me and say, "Oh, you're a dentist. Can you get me this impression material? It's good for
Okay.
their issues in their feet because it's a spongy sort of feel.
Yeah,
So it's
right.
good for their feet for some reason. I don't know how they use it, but the vets know best. But
Right.
yes, it's all the same. We have basically even my equipment is a larger version of whatever that we have in our clinics, air rotors and hand pieces and stuff. So they're diamond burrs, they are, tungsten carbide burrs and stuff blades. So yeah, it's the same stuff.
Okay, right. And ma'am, there was a question in the last session. The canine is really painful, exactly as it is the longest route in the humans, it is for the horses as well. So why it is more painful in horses if we extract them? Canine.
Canines don't really need to be extracted unless it's causing some abscess or some issue
Yeah.
or it's fractured, which is, I've really never seen this in 12 years of my practice. It's never really happened. So I would say that, I mean, people mistake the canine for wolf tooth. So wolf teeth are supposed to be removed. That is the first, that's the premolar basically. That's the first premolar, and the second premolar is a larger premolar. So
Right.
that small premolar basically is very, very small and has very small roots, and that can hurt the horse because the bit or the lagam is touching that small tooth at times. So when the
Right.
rider is
Okay.
trying to gallop or stop the horse in terms of when the horse is cantering or galloping, that would be very, very painful for the horse. So if we have bitted horses with a lagam or bit in their mouth, then you must remove the wolf tooth and not the canine. Canines are
Okay.
very, very strong, and they're there for a reason. I mean, only male horses mostly have the large canines. The female horses have rudimentary canines or they're absent. So
Right.
they need that for fighting and showing their dominance and stuff. So why
Right.
change that?
Okay. And ma'am, you also shared that the working length in an RCT, if done it on a horse, can go to up to 45
Yeah,
mm. It's mm,
yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah.
got. So, ma'am, and what exactly is telepathic animal communication? Is that can be done, like, of course, the horse or the animal not being in the same area as we are, that can be done as well, right?
Yeah. So, the telepathic animal communication, very simply put, is talking through your mind. So, like today, I'm talking through this phone, so I can
Yeah.
hear you, see you. The same way is, we when we're talking through our mind, it's called telepathy. So, I used to think it's a very, odd thing or supernatural thing or something to be scared of. Ki ye sab kya hai? Like Doctor Dolittle or something that's so amazing that we've seen on, a movie in Hollywood. So I think those things used to be very like amazing and amusing to me, but I never really paid too much attention to it until I came to a point in my life where I really thought that हम जो करते हैं वो सही करते हैं कि नहीं करते, what are we doing for the animals, and how do we have this whole superiority complex just because we are human beings, and who gives us the right to have that superiority complex. So
Exactly.
I when I went into this class, I really realized that animals are way beyond us. They are way beyond our time and understanding, and they really have a very clear understanding of karma, where we're going in life. I was taught some really amazing stuff. Even today, when something goes wrong or I'm not happy with something, I often ask the horses, "What's going on? You tell me what you want,"
Okay.
and then I'm
Oh
like, "Oh,
wow.
I didn't even think of this." You know. So it's
Right.
very nice. I mean, sometimes like I get calls from clients who want to find their dogs and cats and they've gone missing. Very clearly, sometimes the dog or the cat will say that I don't want to stay in this family anymore. My purpose and my job here is
Okay.
done. I want to move on somewhere else. So we
Oh
get very
wow.
emotional about these things and we feel very, we humanize them completely. But they are very clear. They have a specific purpose and they know their purpose, and once their purpose is over, they know where to go and take care of themselves, so we
Exactly.
don't need to have this holier
We
than
humans
thou.
get, yeah, and we humans get super attached to a thing or a place,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And ma'am, we have a question like, do horses show gratitude after getting relief from the pain?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know of baby horses that will stand there quietly. It was a very funny story. A very, very big owner who thought that, horses flip over and they feel a lot of pain. So, they'll break their back if you do dental work and stuff. And so one of the trainers invited him to watch me do the dental work. And I told this guy, the Ghodewala, to say, like, please give me a calmer horse because there are going to be three people watching me. And this is a very big shot person. And I don't want to create a
Right.
scene in front of them. I don't want a bratty horse in front of them at least. And he gave me the brattiest horse that he
Oh
could find.
God.
And he's like, Madam, thoda magra hai. And I was like, oh God. So they came and they watched, and I just told the horse, I said, please, buddy, don't do this. Like, just be nice to me and just have my back. And this little baby, it was a 2-year-old. It was a 2-year-old baby, and I think they understand very well. He stood perfectly fine. I took out 4 teeth from his mouth. He didn't even blink. And he's like, okay,
Oh
don't worry,
wow.
like chill, it's okay. So it depends a lot on the way you deal with them. All thanks to Warwick on that he's really taught me how to understand that it's like pediatric dentistry. A child comes into
Yeah.
your clinic, you don't make them sit on the dental chair and start screaming at them and you start, showing them the air rotor and scaring them. You play with them, you have fun with them, you tell them that okay, you can trust you can be trusted, everything's okay and we'll figure. So I wanted to be a pediatric dentist, and I think today I'm doing pediatric dentistry only with horses because I think mostly it's that.
Okay. And ma'am, like,
So
what
yeah,
about,
so
yeah.
yeah.
Ma'am, what about the LA? It's the same blocks you give, or it's the different?
No. No, so horses are athletes. I cannot sedate or I cannot inject them with anything.
Okay.
Mostly the ones that are race horses, you require vets to come do that. And
Okay.
so when their racing permits, when their racing season permits, we can sedate them. When we can't, then we can't. So many a times, I obviously for the painful stuff, I do recommend that trainers sedate their horses and stuff, and then we can do dental work for
Right.
removal of wolf teeth and stuff. Especially
Yeah.
when they're babies, you don't want to hurt them. You want them to have a good experience. You want them to feel happy and comfortable. So yeah, that's that. But we don't. I mean, yes, abroad, if they do root canals and stuff, they are doing local anesthesia as well. That the way we do. But so far, I have not used local anesthesia.
And ma'am, for the removal of the tooth, like the periosteal, the elevator we use and the forceps,
Yeah,
are
yeah. We have
those the
similar.
same?
Yeah, we have
Okay.
similar. larger size
I
but
mean,
similar.
exactly, because the horse's face, I mean, just the mouth would be much more bigger than the our human faces. So definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess there was some question, ma'am. Just a second. And ma'am, what is your future plans?
So I definitely plan on teaching, the equine vets and stuff in the future. I am looking at probably tying up with colleges or something in the future. I'm talking to a few people, but it's let's see how it goes. It's going to be a groundbreaking thing, but let's see how it goes.
Right. Ma'am, it would be for the BDS as well. At least whoever is interested in it can join it, right?
I doubt. I think it's going
Okay.
to be mostly for the veterinarians.
Okay, okay, right. ठीक है, thank. And ma'am, what about do we place a crown in a horse as well?
No, so far we haven't. Maybe when we
Okay.
do implants and stuff in a few years, yes, maybe.
And there, the lab work would be different, like completely different.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. I guess most questions are over from the audience and me as well. And thank you again. Thank you so much. We have been
Thank
planning it
you.
for almost a year, and then we are having it a second session again. So it's a blessing in disguise.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the
Thank
time, and
you.
thank you everyone who joined again. Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you.